Wow. Hey everybody, it's Drewski McGillicuddy, and there I was the other night scrolling through Amazon Prime trying to find something to watch, even though I got all these movies over here and all these movies over here. I figured I'd go against Devon Graham's better judgment and find me a movie on streaming to watch. Plus, I had heard that Elijah Wood had this fancy new I don't is it a fucking horror movie? I don't know. Come to Daddy. I seen this. And I was like, you know what? What the fuck is that? So I watched the trailer. Made it about 45 seconds in and thought to myself, oh shit, I better stop while I'm ahead and go into this almost blind. Because the only thing I got from the trailer was that Elijah Wood plays this fucking Dilbert Dick looking motherfucker that's got this dodo bird haircut, and I don't know what's up with this fucking mustache. It's awfully suspicious looking. But he's this prancy whatever from fucking Beverly Hills and gets a letter from his father to come see him. So he goes to see him, and then his father ends up not being what he expected, and they're not necessarily getting along. And I was like, well, hold on, I'll turn this off because this looks like it could be good, and there could be something to this, and let's just go ahead and press play. And that's what I did. And I can't stress enough that I'm about to spoil the shit out of this movie. So if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest that you take your ass to Amazon Prime and you watch it immediately. And if you're one of those people like Devon Graham, you better pull out your credit card, get your credit card number ready, and order yourself a physical copy, because this movie is a definite must go out and buy it. It belongs in your collection. This movie is a fucking masterpiece. You want to talk about breath of fresh air. Holy shit, okay? Because it's one of the most unique and creative stories I've ever seen. And this, I want to say, the charisma and the writing. There's something about the writing and the dialogue and just, the interaction between characters. The things that happen in this movie. And, at first, I'm sitting there thinking that it's just going to be him going to see his dad, and then his dad's going to not be what he expected, and then they're not going to get along, and they're going to have a falling out, and things are going to get crazy, and that's kind of what happened, but not in the slightest how I had expected it to happen. So, like I said, if you have not seen Come to Daddy, please, you can stop the video. I won't be offended. Just stop it, and then come back later, because we're going to talk about this. Anyway, Elijah Wood plays Neville, some fucking name, I don't know. Normal. He plays the fucking cat from Garfield.
Norval.
What the fuck? That's just as fucked up as the director's name. The director's name's Ant Timpson, but I can't complain about his directing because he's fucking phenomenal. And it makes me want to go watch ABCs of Death Part 2, because I hated the first ABCs of Death. But apparently he's got clips in that. He had clips in the first one. He had a hand in the VHS movies, I think. I don't know. He was a producer. Goddamn Gary, with your cat hair! Anyway, what were we talking about? So this little Dilbert-looking motherfucker with his bowl cut and his pedo stash, he goes off into the Oregon forest through a trail to meet his father, because his father sent him a letter, and he lives on the rocky coast of Oregon on the beach in this fancy beach house. So he goes, he knocks on the door, his dad comes to the door, he's like, oh my God, what? It's almost like he didn't remember inviting him to his house. So right off the bat, you're getting this kind of funny, uncomfortable feeling between these two. Something's not necessarily right. And the more we go on, the more we start to realize, yeah, this guy's dad's kind of fucked up. I don't think he wants him here. And then, like, Elijah Wood starts to suspect, like, what the fuck did you have me come here for if you're just going to be a dick the whole time? And then, they have this drunken altercation because, this dude's like a total alcoholic. There's even a scene where he's talking to Elijah Wood, and Elijah Wood tells him, I don't drink. And he's like, oh, why don't you drink? And he's like, well, I had an alcohol dependency, and then apparently ended up in a bathtub with a razor blade going to slit his wrist. Slowly, we begin to reveal that there's something sinister afoot. Like, Elijah Wood stumbled into the wrong place at the wrong time because his dad, gets drunk and violently attacks him with a meat cleaver. But before he can strike him, he's stricken with a fucking heart attack. And I was in, like, disbelief that this had just happened. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how the hell is this going to be a movie? I thought this was supposed to be a movie about this guy, invited his son, and he's slowly going to torment his son because he knew that he turned out some kind of weirdo that lives in fucking Beverly Hills. I don't know. I have no idea. But what had happened was he calls, the coroner, I guess he calls the sheriff, and the scene with the sheriff is fucking priceless. I don't know. Whoever plays this sheriff had me rolling. And it's a fucking awkward situation. Like, just half the situations in this movie are fucking awkward situations. Like, it's a series of awkward as fuck situations, to be honest with you. Because, he calls for help because his father passes away. And, that, even though you're in the middle of a heated fight and he's possibly about to kill you, that's still mess you up, regardless of how long it's been since the last time you've seen your father. If he were to fucking die right there in front of you, like, he just keels over like this in mid, like, outrage and just fucking dies.
Mid insult.
But in mid insult, he's talking about explaining to him why and how he's a. Am I allowed to say that without getting demonetized? I'll bleep it out anyway. It's the C word, everybody. The movie's from New Zealand, so they're allowed to say that freely over there. I don't see what the problem is or why YouTube would have a problem with it, but I'm trying not to get demonetized every fucking video I make. And apparently I can say the F word like at least 5 times, so we'll keep that one in. So there he is, lying dead on the floor. He calls for help. The state trooper, I could assume, I don't know, he's a sheriff, a sheriff's deputy. I don't fucking know. He shows up, and he's trying to comfort him in the most awkward way possible. I probably don't have the clips, so you just have to watch the movie for yourself. Yeah, it gets really weird. And then the coroner comes, and for some reason, they've got a lot of activity going on at the morgue. So there's
a flood, and so the storage space in the morgue has been limited.
They had a flood, so the storage space in the morgue is limited. So she tells him, I'm going to take your father, I'm going to embalm him, and then I got to bring him back here, which is fucked up. Okay, now he's got to sit in this house that he doesn't even know, never been here before, hasn't seen his father in 30 years, but now he's in this fucking house that he's never been in before. And he's all alone. And did I mention that they were taking a selfie out on the deck the day before this happened, and his dad accidentally dropped his cell phone into the ocean? Did I mention that? No. It was also one of them fancy limited edition, only 20 of them existed in the world because it was like a gold-plated iPhone or some bullshit that some asshole from Beverly Hills would fucking have. But anyway, back to the coroner bringing the body back. So, yeah, then, when he's trying to sleep at night, he keeps hearing strange noises. So now, it's like, okay, what the fuck is this movie about? Because I didn't read any synopsises or anything. I'm like, so he goes to see his dad who tries to kill him, and then his dad fucking dies, and then his dad's gonna haunt him in the afterlife and drive him fucking crazy? Because that goes on for a little bit, and I'm like, because it said the movie was only 93 minutes, and I'm already like, damn, I'm already feel like I'm into a first act, third act, second act, back into a first act again. And then we find out that there's something coming from underneath. There's a rug in the living room, and underneath that rug, there's a trap door.
Like a hatch.
Like a hatch. So he goes down into this hatch, and there's this bloody beaten up guy just chained to a pipe. And it's his real dad. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What? What? Did I mention spoiler alert? Because, yeah. So it turns out that guy upstairs was not his father. That was some guy his dad used to bum with, kidnapping people and holding them for ransom or something like that. I don't know. Because he tells them, like, hey, you got to get me out of here. You got to get me out of here. Then they hear that somebody else is in the house. And he's like, you're going to have to hide. You're going to have to kill this motherfucker when he comes down here. Because he's coming down here to hurt me. You know, and I'm your father. And, you know, because that's the thing. Before I jumped ahead of myself, before he found the damn hatch, he found this little crevice in the wall. What the fuck you call it? Little crawl space in the wall. Found a little crawl space in the wall. Inside the crawl space was a box of, what do you call it? Mementos. And in those mementos was a photo album. And in that photo album was a picture of his real father. And then that's when he put 2 and 2 together that this ain't my father. What the fuck is that noise? So he opens the fucking hatch in the living room and finds out that his real father's down in the basement chained up to the fucking wall. So back to this fucking guy coming down. He's gonna fucking hurt his father. So he's gotta hide and try to kill this motherfucker, right? And this motherfucker comes down and pulls out a little baggie with a turd in it and an ink pen. We'll call it a poo pen. So he pulls out the poo pen and tells him something about he's going to stab him with a pen covered in his excrement. But he says it wrong. Excrement. But then, you know, the guy's dead and it says it's excrement. And then it turns out these two are like best fucking friends, okay? Because after he stabs him, or well, you know, he stabs him with the poo pen. And then this little sissy fight ensues. And the guy with the poo pen's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. What was his name? Jethro. Jethro gets the fuck out of there. Where was I at? What was I going on about?
With the poo pen.
Fucking poo pen, yeah. But what does he tell? Oh. So then, you know, after Jethro hightails it out of there, you know, Norval's father explains to him, that's my best friend. And, we kidnapped somebody real famous or something like that. It's real wealthy. We collected the money, and they think that I still have their cut, but he doesn't have their cut because he sent it to Norval's mother so that she could live in a mansion in Beverly Hills and be unemployed, and then he could have the best life. So that's kind of sweet. It's kind of touching. I was kind of touched by that. I'm like, man, he hasn't seen his son in 30 years, but at least he was nice enough to give him, you know, the fortune that he, you know, conned out of somebody by kidnapping their child. So he's like, you're telling me my entire life was fun by kidnapping? He's like, yeah, pretty much. So they go upstairs, okay? And this is where the movie really fucking just goes from fucking whatever fuck I was watching to like 1100. Like, okay, I don't even know. He goes to use the restroom, and there's this big enforcer-looking dude taking a shit, wearing headphones. So he didn't hear him at first, but when he notices he's there, he takes the headphones off. He stands up, and like this guy must have been in mid-wipe because he starts slamming Elijah Wood around, and you see, you know, keeps cutting back to the toilet paper roll, and the toilet paper roll keeps going like this. And then you realize that it's stuck in this guy's ass cheeks, and he's beating the shit out of fucking Elijah Wood with fucking toilet paper sticking out of his ass cheek, wrapping it around the fucking house because they're going room to room and it's following them, and it's fucking the fucking greatest thing I've ever fucking seen in my goddamn life. And then Elijah Wood decides he's tired of having the shit kicked out of him by this big mongoloid motherfucker. So he picks up the, what was it? Carving fork? It was like a meat fork. One of them big meat forks. And he just stabs him in the motherfucking taint like 11 times. Like, right up in the, like, the testicular area and the butthole. Like, he fucked him up real bad. And that wasn't even enough. Got him right in the gooch. That wasn't enough, everybody. We had to fucking get, you know, extended a little bit. He finds the saran wrap and wraps it around his head real good, and then takes the remainder. And this is one of them big deluxe rolls of saran wrap that you would get from Sam's Club or something. Like, this ain't no little fucking grocery store saran wrap. He wraps it around his head, and then he just bashes his fucking head in, and it doesn't make a mess because his head's already wrapped up in the fucking saran wrap. So he fucking just bam, and you know, The only mess he's got to worry about cleaning up is that shitty toilet paper that's fucking strewn all over the fucking living room and fucking dining room and kitchen. But yeah, it's like one of the fucking baddest ass fucking kills I've ever seen in a fucking movie. And you know what? I need to watch it again, but there's somebody that just did top 25 kills in horror movies, and I'm pretty sure he didn't mention this kill. And the fucked up thing is this ain't even the best kill in the movie. Now, this is the most violent, fucked up kill in the movie. But there's another kill in the movie that happens later that I would love to talk about. So let's move on to what happens next. What happens next is Jethro returns with a flaming crossbow. And they just barely made it out of the house by the time he makes it back, and he goes in looking for him. And just when Norval's like, I sure hope he doesn't find my suitcase with my mother's address on it, he comes out on the deck and says, Norval, I'm going to 9246 Beverly Hills Drive, and I'm killing your mother, or something like that. I don't know, I wasn't listening. But the point is, his dad tells him, like, hey, you're going to have to fucking kill this guy. He's like, maybe, get in his car and follow him whenever he gets out and you have the opportune moment. Fucking kill him. So that leads us to him getting in the trunk, and he goes off to this seedy little motel, and, during the car ride, Norval overhears him talking to Precious, who is, I guess, a dominatrix prostitute type person. And, he gets there, and Jethro goes inside. Norval gets out and tries to go get keys to the room, and the guy ain't having it at the front desk. So then he sees Precious come up, and he tries to triple whatever she's being paid by Jethro to just leave the door cracked so he can just go in and fucking off that motherfucker real easy like. But that's too easy. That's too easy. We can't have that. So what happens is he goes in and he has to lie to this guy because the guy had told him, we're in the middle of a swingers convention. Like, they're geologists, but they're really just swingers, and they're all diddling each other. Every single room is full. He can't get a room. He can't get a key. So he's got to, go on down the street, but he don't want to go on down the street because he needs to get into, like, number 8. Well, the guy at the office ain't having it, so he tells him, no. So then he makes up some bullshit story about this big titty blonde girl wandering around the fucking parking lot. So he goes out, and then he steals all the fucking keys and the receipt thing because it's a spike on a spindle. It's on a spindle. Then he goes and he tries to get in, but unfortunately they got it locked with the chain. So he has to go all the way around to the back of the hotel because they all apparently have connecting doors that connect each room or whatever have you. So he sneaks in, and what do we get? We get some fucking full frontal, close-up, fucking uncircumcised, flaccid penis! Man, that's exactly what I needed. I mean, I ought to take points off for that, but you know what? It's just a penis. Who cares? But yeah, he sneaks in, and there's a bunch of naked people laying on a bed, like two girls and 3 dudes. I don't fucking know.
3 dudes and 1 girl.
3 dudes and 1 girl. They were napping because they were up all night banging. But anyway, so he slowly tries to be quiet and open the door to get into the next room. Unfortunately, he wakes him up, and then he starts freaking out. And then he gets in there, and then fucking, it's just fucking shit, man. And then, yeah. So basically, they bring him within an inch of his life because Precious gets up, puts him in a headlock, starts choking him, and then Jethro takes the spindle, stabs him a couple times here in the ribs just for good measure, and then just stabs him in the mouth, and it's like going through his cheek, and it's fucking bad. I thought he was dead. I was like, shit, this is a terrible way to end a movie. But it turned out we was only like 75 minutes into it, so we still had a couple more minutes. So little does Jethro know that before he went into the room, I also forgot to tell you this, before he went into the room, he took that spindle out and he slashed all 4 of his tires so that when he took off, because he was like, I'm fucking out of here, because like even Precious was like, hey, I ain't trying to be an accessory to murder. So he tells him, I'm going to go kill your mother. And he said, please don't kill my mother. And he's like, you got any last words for your mother? He says, yeah, tell her I love her. He said, I'm going to specifically tell her that you don't love her. Because that's the kind of guy he is. And for like a bad guy in a movie, I absolutely fucking love this Jethro dude. He's fucking great. But anyway, best scene in the movie coming up. I'm about to tell you about it. He takes off in his little car, and then you hear, he wrecks into some fast food sign, and Norval walks out. Norval, whatever the fuck this goddamn prick's name is, walks out and sees his car, sees the thing through the window, but he's nowhere to be found, and he looks off in the distance, and he's walking down the street. So Norval runs and catches up with Jethro, and Jethro tells him, your mother was a prostitute. I banged her. He's like, your dad banged her, and something about, they was something, I don't remember, but you know, he kind of had a heart-to-heart with Norval. And then Norval just takes that spindle. Oh, did I mention, like, part of the side of his head's fucking missing and his brain's exposed? I really wish I could find this clip, but I probably can't. You just have to go watch it. I just wanted to talk about it. But, like, he sticks... It's the most subtle, simple fucking thing. He just sticks it right in there, and he says, Arthur! Anyway, I can't stress enough how much I fucking loved this movie. I mean, I can't... 10 out of 10, 5 stars, 5 out of 5, all these accolades. I don't fucking know what else to tell you other than fucking why haven't you watched this movie yet? What the fuck are you waiting for? Take my fucking word for it, all right? I mean, it's a better use of your time than going out there spray painting penises on buildings. Anyway, don't worry about none of that. Worry about clicking the like button, sharing this with your friends, subscribing if you're new here, all that bullshit. And if you want to see more of this bullshit, you can consider helping me out on Patreon so that I can get better at this. Because I've been at it for like what seems like 3 years, and I'm like feel like I'm stuck in the same place where I started, where I just have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But if you enjoy me not knowing what the fuck I'm doing, let me know and all that good stuff. So, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. We'll see you next time, everybody.